What is up, Los Angeles, and welcome back to your Rams LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson. The Rams officially announced their 2026 coaching staff just yesterday, and while a lot of people are talking about Kliff Kingsbury and Robert Woods additions to that staff for very good reasons, I want to talk about a move I feel is flying a bit under the radar. I want to talk a bit about Brian Johnson. If you don't remember, Brian Johnson was the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles before he took a position with the Washington Commanders, where he worked with Kliff Kingsbury, who is now also on the staff. Kingsbury is the assistant head coach of this Los Angeles Rams team. But I wanted to dive into a bit more about what Brian Johnson brings. We saw a similar approach just a couple years ago when the Rams brought in Sean Desai. He didn't come in to call plays. He was not the face of the defense. He was embedded behind the scenes to work with the offense. Sean Desai was the defensive coordinator for the Rams, for the Eagles, the same year that Brian Johnson was the OC. But the Rams brought him in to work with the offensive staff to teach them all about what defensive coordinators are looking for. So why Brian Johnson? Externally, people remember Johnson as the Eagles play caller who got criticized. But if you look at the numbers, that offense was still top 10 in points per game, yards per game, success rate, EPA per play, and pretty much all of the overall efficiency metrics. Johnson's offenses leaned heavily into run pass option, play action, conflict-based designs, and forcing defenders to hesitate instead of attack. And guess what the Rams had trouble with last season? Exactly that. Play action hurt them a lot. The Rams were dramatically worse when defending play action than standard dropbacks. And that's becoming a much bigger part of the NFL game now. Completion percentage spike and efficiency dropped. And that tells you the defenders are reacting instead of diagnosing. RPOs were rare, but they were also effective against last year's Rams defense. Hesitation showed up in physical metrics. There were a ton of yards allowed after the catch and after contact. That's what happens when defenders are a half step too late and they're unsure of what they're seeing. Johnson built offenses designed to create that exact hesitation, so he's going to be working with this defensive staff to try to shore that up. Johnson isn't going to install plays. It's to explain what quarterbacks are reading, what offensive coordinators are trying to manipulate, how formations are designed to distort coverage rules, and what defenders should key in on before the ball is snapped. It's offensive intent translated into defensive anticipation. Think of it less like adding a coach and more like adding intelligence from the other sideline. Around the league, offensive assistant roles are often seen as reset jobs for displaced coordinators. With the Rams, they've weaponized this idea. They're essentially cycling in experienced strategists every year to self-scout the team, challenge assumptions, and bring a fresh awareness without challenging the coaching structure. It's innovation without instability. And that's a big deal when you're trying to compete while also reshaping the roster. And the defensive roster is going to see a lot of reshaping. They are basically going to have to entirely rebuild the secondary when they lose all of those cornerbacks and Cam Curl, who was a big part of the defense, of course. So to close, it's not necessarily about a headline. It doesn't come with a special title or splashy title. It doesn't change who's calling the plays, but it fits a clear philosophy. The Rams aren't just adding coaches. They're importing ways to see themselves differently, especially through the eyes of people who used to attack their very problems they're trying to solve. And in today's NFL, that kind of perspective might be the most valuable advantages you can buy. So let me know what you think of the Brian Johnson hire after knowing these details. I'm curious to know exactly what you guys think the best tack the defense should take through the draft, free agency, trades, all throughout the offseason, which are all opening up very shortly. The combine is happening. Go ahead and like and subscribe. If you like these updates, we'll be coming at you several times a week, so keep an eye out.
Hey, Ramley, thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching the Rams LAFB show. Quickly before you go, got to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. It's the #1 sports app right now, and you've got to download it because it's got so many great features that I want to tell you about. Aside from season-long fantasy, which is the best in the business, they've also got live score trackers, in-game updates, plus the live chat where you can actually communicate with other users right on the app. But perhaps the best feature, at least that I like, is the daily fantasy feature or the live pick'em. Just pick 2 to 8 players across any sport, baseball, basketball, hockey, obviously football and our Rams. You're going to choose a player, just choose more or less. Matthew Stafford, more or less passing yards. Kyron Williams, more or less rushing yards, more or less touchdowns. 2 to 8, you can win real money. So when you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code RAMSLAFB. And Sleeper's going to give you a match bonus up to $100. So you deposit $100, they're going to give you $100 free. You're now sitting at $200. You put in $10, they're going to match you $10. You're now sitting at $20. But on top of that, right now, Sleeper is offering all new user signups a $20 free entry, no deposit required. Go sign up. You're automatically invested $20 straight from Sleeper. But you can stack that offer with that match bonus offer to add more money. Just make sure to use that promo code RAMS. LAFB. Go check out Sleeper. Download it today. Tell them the guys at the Rams LAFB sent you. And as always, Ramley, thank you so much for making us a part of your day.